Here are 10 of the greatest battles in Warhammer 40K lore. Battles, not wars. There is a difference. We will not be ranking them in any way, as it is almost impossible to do so. We will also not include any battle from the War in Heaven, as we do not have any exact details on them. So let's get to it. The first one, the Battle of Macrag. This battle was a defining moment in what is now known as the First Tyrannic War. This battle was between the Ultramarines with their battle fleet Baka, as well as a Titan Legion facing up against billions of Tyranids of the first High Fleet called Behemoth. The first High Fleet to be considered as an existential threat to the Imperium and to their homeworld Macrag. Although the battle was almost lost, it was a stroke of luck that it was also plot armor that saved them all. It happened when a ship called the Dominus Astra activated its warp drives on a collision course with the center of the High Fleet, causing destruction in rail space, kind of like a black hole, sucking and transporting all of the Nids, their bioships, into the Immaterium. This victory led to changes in the Blue Boys' tactics and the creation of the Tyrannic War Veterans, and this conflict against High Fleet Behemoth stands out as their greatest test of their strength, fighting to almost the last man standing with no hope for survival. The second one, the Isvan 5 Massacre, or the Dropsite Massacre. This battle took place during the early stages of the Horus Heresy in the planet of Isvan 5 after the events of the Isvan 3 atrocity. The War Master Horus, in an attempt to eradicate a significant force of the loyalist Space Marine legions, lured them to the planet Isvan 5 under false pretenses. The legions of the Raven God, the Salamanders and the Iron Hands were sent to deal with the traitors, which were at that time just the sons of Horus, the Death God, the Emperor's children and the World Eaters. The Loyalist Marines were supposedly going to be assisted by the second wave of legions from the Alpha Legion, the Word Bearers, the Iron Warriors and the Night Lords, therefore having a numerical advantage against the traitors. But unbeknownst to them, the reinforcements have also turned to chaos. So as you would guess, after a hectic fight between the initial assault wave, the second wave came in and betrayed their loyalist brothers, massacring them from both sides in a massive kill zone. The three loyal legions would almost become extinct, while the traitors, although themselves losing tens of thousands, would come out as the victor. The third one, the Siege of Terra. This is the final battle of the Horus Heresy, and it was fought between the forces of the Imperium, led by the Emperor of Mankind and his loyal Primarchs, against the traitor forces led by Horus Lupercal and his fallen Primarchs. It was a massive conflict that saw millions of soldiers, Astartes, and war machines from both sides fighting across the surface of Terra, or Earth, and also in the void of space, culminating in the assault on the Imperial Palace, and then the Emperor with Sanguinius, a large group of Custodes, and loyal Marines counter-attacking Horus on his flagship called the Vengeful Spirit. This ended with Horus being obliterated into nothingness, Sanguinius being killed, and the Emperor mortally wounded. Aside from that, billions of citizens were also slaughtered by the traitor Marines and by their human followers and the demons of chaos. There were also millions dead on both sides. The victory was to the Imperium, but was only marginal as the cost of life as well as assets were beyond count. The traitors were also dealt a huge blow, limiting their impact on the Imperium to an extent until the fall of Cadia 10,000 years later. The fourth one, Fall of Cadia. This was a significant battle in the conflict between the Imperium and the forces of chaos, as the Imperium suffered a major defeat and the Eye of Terror expanded, creating the Great Rift that divided the galaxy into two halves. As the entire planet of Cadia was a fortress world that was key in containing the Eye of Terror, the majority of the population, which numbered more than 800 million inhabitants, were also combatants. Along with them are 4 Titan Legions, 5 battle fleets divided into 57 navy battle groups, 28 chapters of the Astartes, 5 orders of the Sisters of Battle, as well as Necrons and Eldari battle fleets. While the 13th Black Crusade, which is the aggressor in this case, was led by Abaddon the Despoiler and had 3 Chaos battle fleets, 9 Traitor Legions, 6 Chaos Titan Legions, and a horde of demons with 1 black stone fortress called the Will of Eternity. The sad thing about the fall of Cadia was that the Imperium almost drove the Black Crusade into oblivion, if not for the last-ditch effort by Abaddon, sending a black fortress into the world like an asteroid, killing everything and exploding the planet with its defensive pylons, therefore causing the rift to expand. Number 5. The Second Battle of Ionden. High Fleet Kraken, one of the largest and greatest Tyranid fleets ever encountered, invaded the Eldar craft world of Ionden. The Eldar were taken aback but banded together to defend their home. The entire craft world was fortified, every Eldari inhabitant was deployed, and even Kayla Mensha Kane's avatar was awakened. Even the Wraith Guards were also deployed. Prince Iriel, in a desperate maneuver, managed to defeat the Tyranid space fleet, preventing further attacks. But the ground battle was still desperate, and the Eldari defense was all but broken. The Avatar engaged in a combat with the Hive Tyrant, but was overwhelmed by a dozen Carnifexes. Iriel arrived and then used the Cursed Spear of Twilight to defeat the Hive Tyrant, and then the scattered Tyranids were isolated and destroyed. The Nids numbered in their billions and all were killed, while the craft world lost 80% of their population, which would mean that out of the estimated population of 3 to 5 million, 4/5 of the ancient Eldari were lost. Number 6. The Devastation of Baal. The devastation of Baal began when the Tyranids invaded the Baal system of the Blood Angels. The Tyranids' arrival was initially perceived as a localized tendril, but it soon became apparent that it was the Tyranid Hive Fleet Leviathan, in one of the largest and most numerous Tyranid concentrations ever that was seen by mankind, and it was heading towards Baal. The Blood Angels and all their successor chapters were recalled for the defense of not just their homeworld, but also to prevent the hive mind from acquiring genes of the dead Primarch Sanguinius. They, along with millions of Imperial Guards and planetary defense forces, mobilized to defend the planet and stop the Tyranid advance. The battle was brutal and lasted for several weeks, with the Blood Angels almost losing all of their Astartes. The Tyranids in their billions would have won, but for their first setback, which was the interference by a massive Khornate Chaos Demon force spilling from the warp, attacking them in the name of the Blood God Khorne. And then their defeat was finalized when the Indomitus Crusade fleet under Guilliman and the Ultramarines arrived with the Primaris reinforcements. Number 7. The Battle of Hell's Reach. This was a crucial battle during the Third War of Armageddon. The Imperium of Man was forced to defend a vital industrial port hive city of Hell's Reach from a massive Orc assault led by warlord Ghazghkull Mak-Uruk-Thraka. The battle included millions of Orcs with 120 Gargants as the attack force. The defenders included the Armageddon Steel Legion and a city militia numbering in the millions. There were also 100 Space Marines from the Black Templars chapter, 19 Titans and 97 Sisters of Battle. Hell's Reach was an important strategic asset, as it was the only notable port facility and refinery complex that produced promethium for many of the hive cities on that planet. There were millions of casualties on both sides, with the Orc assets all but gone, and on the Imperium's side, half of the population was eradicated, as well as the Black Templars all lost, as well as the Sisters of Battle. The Battle of Hell's Reach was hailed as an Imperial victory, but in reality, large areas of the city still bear Orc presence. Hive Hell's Reach population and industry was decimated, and it is now worthless as an industrial production center. Number 8. The First Battle of Eleanor. This was a massive campaign, the Eleanor Crusade, and was led by the Emperor of Mankind during the Great Crusade to conquer the Orc Empire of Eleanor, culminating in the Battle of Eleanor Prime. The crusade included deployment of 100,000 Space Marines, 8 million Imperial Army troops, and 600 Imperial starships of the Imperialis Armada and their support personnel, which are also in the millions, and then there were also hundreds of Titans from 4 Titan legions. The Orcs numbered in the tens or even hundreds of millions. This was a swift and decisive battle for the Imperium as they retake Eleanor and drove the Greenskins away. There were heavy casualties on both sides, but it was more one-sided as Mankind had the Primarchs, Titans, and the Emperor on the battlefield, while the Orcs would not have any equivalent of their own until the mysterious appearance of the Beast 2 millennia afterwards in what will be called the War of the Beasts, ending in another battle in Eleanor Prime. Number 9. The Battle of Betagard. This battle took place in the Betagard system in the later years of the Horus Heresy and was one of the largest and most devastating battles of the entire conflict, mainly due to the deployment of massive numbers of Titans and Knights from both sides, from the Loyalists and the traitors as well. The Loyalist forces had around 27 Titan legions as well as 20 Knight houses in the battle along with the Imperial army, and the Mechanicum Skitarii forces aided by elements of 4 Legionis Astartes. The traitor forces numbered more than 20 to 30 legions of Titans, 20 houses of Renegade Knights, and also the Dark Mechanicum Skitarii, aided by elements of 4 traitor Space Marine legions, and also their own army. It was the biggest ever Titan on Titan battle, as well as featuring the largest Titan on Knights and Knights on Knights battles. The casualties of the Betagard campaign, including the Battle of Betagard, were so great that they exceed the final 5 years of the entire Great Crusade. And number 10, the Battle of Octaria. This is a battle that was the most definitive and the bloodiest of all the Orc versus Tyranid fights in the Octarius War. It began when a Tyranid high fleet called Leviathan was lured by the Imperium into invading Orc Empire of Octarius. The Orcs, always ready for a fight, launched a massive counterattack, leading to a long and brutal war of attrition that raged for years. The Tyranids on their end evolved and adapted to Orcs' unique physiology and their technology, constantly evolving new tactics and bioforms. Meanwhile, the Orcs revel in the endless combat, being the happiest they have ever been, also growing in size and bulk. This, however, culminated in the Battle of Octaria, which is the prime world for the millions of greenskins in that sector, led by an Overfian. And the Tyranids, on the other hand, in their billions, rejuvenated by the biomass consumed from previous battles with the fast-spawning Orcs, and led by the Swarmbot, attacked the world with the aim of ending the resistance of the Orcs. This ended in a Tyranid victory and a cosmic headache for the Imperium, who have to deal with an even more massive and more intelligent Leviathan swarm. And so those are the 10 biggest and greatest battles in Warhammer 40K lore. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button for support and subscribe, but most of all, smash that bell icon for regular updates on new videos on this channel. Till the next one, take care, boys.